So usually before we start, I like to get hype, get
Hmm.
funky.
Yep.
Occasionally we'll get jiggy with it. So we can't use any music because that would, licensing issues. But we can kind of like just groove without music.
Yep. I can dig it.
Okay.
I'm switching modes. I'm switching modes from dad mode to being trapped in the Antarctic with a bunch of things.
Too many things.
Too many things. Definitely not enough ladies.
Hey, I'm Jeff. This is it. The Great and Secret Knowledge, a speculative fiction podcast. And we don't have Lindsey anymore for personal reasons. And we have a great guest co host today.
Hello.
It's Dave.
Hello. I'm Dave.
Oh, sorry, I stepped on your hello there.
No, it's your
Dave,
show,
why
man.
don't you tell them who you are and like kind of what your deal is?
All right. So I am a big old nerd. Uh, I grew up in like 80s, 90s, and I grew up in a pretty religious household. And so when I became an adult and got to do my own thing, I did a lot of making up for lost time, which involved a lot of hip hop, a lot of heavy metal, a lot of Dungeons and Dragons, and a lot of horror films. And so this is when I was doing a John Carpenter like marathon over the course of about a week. This is the one that like there's a lot of good ones in there, but The Thing is the one that locked in as like one of my all-time favorite movies. I don't know how many times I've seen this. Uh, and like my day to day, I'm an entertainment lawyer, which sounds cooler than it is. It's actually pretty boring, just standard lawyer stuff. But uh, yeah, I've always floated this out to all of my clients who are like a lot of indie filmmakers. We got a couple horror films in the go right now, and I just every time I get an opportunity to tell them, I want to die in one of your movies. I want to get killed in a horror movie, and that's like my biggest career goal.
That's really cool. Um, if people don't listen to The Greatest Generation or The Greatest Trek, they might miss some of our references today because we are both friends of DeSoto.
Best job I've ever had, man.
Oh man, Captain DeSoto, what a guy.
What a guy. He's plugged in.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like they didn't get stuff done on the DeSoto, but they had fun doing it.
Exactly. There's nothing at stake, so you do it at your own pace. And honestly, that seems to get the job done as well as anything else.
That's right. Folks, if you want to know what we're talking about, first watch some Star Trek, see if it's for you, and then listen to The Greatest Generation
And it's
and
okay if it's
listen
not
and
all for you.
yeah.
I love
Yeah.
TNG. I enjoy TOS. The pod made me like DS9.
Oh God, I was just watching Accession. It's so good.
I love knowing what happens, and I love the pod like holding my hand through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And I'm also sad that those nubbin bugs sold out.
Oh yeah, they had a promotion or a sale, a merch thing.
Yeah, the hosts found on auction or like from some guy, they bought the original molds for like a brain parasite alien in the season finale of season one of TNG. They bought that for some insane amount of money that I'm sure their wives will never find out. And then they made what like 400 of them, and then they sold them as like a VIP ticket experience to the current run of live shows that they're doing, and they sold out in like what a day.
Wow.
They were like 400 Canadian,
That's
and I
amazing.
I kind of wish I got to buy something that my wife will also not know about.
I don't know, something about the way you phrased it. It feels like all I want to say is like I could have got all this porn, but I have this
I
instead.
got my
It's
nubbin
less
book. I'm good.
embarrassing, but not
I don't
not
know.
embarrassing.
I think that's a coin toss. Ugh. Yeah.
Man, that's a great episode. What's that one called? Conspiracy.
Yeah. Yeah. They bring back the pipsqueak who was trying to like find them doing something wrong earlier, and then they blew his head up. Spoilers.
Mm. What's up with these pipsqueaks?
Well, I mean, what's up with the Admiralty? Is name one admiral that isn't either grossly incompetent or like overtly evil. Oh
I
wait.
got you. I
Okay.
solved it.
Okay.
Admiral Janeway.
Oh well, but I mean that's the version of Janeway that's also been cutting deals with the Borg, right? I guess
Cut deals with the Borg, like, and I think she might still be a vice admiral at this point in Prodigy, but I feel like she became an admiral during Endgame, and then like had that showdown with the Borg Queen. Did she make a deal with her?
like okay, so I think that was like a timeline crossover thing. So one version of her
Yeah.
did, and one version of her was appalled, and I don't remember which one ultimately was canon.
Hmm.
Voyager is the one I have the second least amount of knowledge on.
Oh man, for some reason it's my favorite series, and
Uh,
it is so bizarre.
Yeah, my wife thoroughly enjoys it. I'll watch episodes of Voyager. I mean, I was traumatized by the episode where Harry Kim was stuck in that like medical nightmare,
Oh,
right? That was rough for me, however old I was when that came out.
a medical nightmare. I'm thinking of the one where he goes into a cocoon and they're like supposed to die and be sent in these caskets onto a asteroid. But then there was also the
Oh,
one where
that
he
one.
was stuck in a cryo tank
Yeah,
that
the
like
cryo tank with the
where he hung out with
simulation.
the clown.
Yeah, that horrible clown. And like it was
Oh,
specifically when the clown confronts him with his nightmare with like watching a surgery happen, and I was like, "Yep, nope, I'm right there with you,
mm.
Harry."
It's okay to skip episodes
Yep.
if they freak you out. I almost skipped tonight's episode. I turned on the thing, and for some reason, this time I was like, I don't know if I can handle this tonight. So I turned the sound down, turned on some lights. Oh man,
Man, for me, as soon as that bass
sometimes you
line
just
hits,
yeah.
that Carpenter just on his
Mm,
synths, that bass line hits, it's like curling up in a snuggly blanket for me. I fucking love this
nice,
movie.
hell yeah, hell yeah. Well, but before we get deep into it, tell me your journey into speculative fiction. Did you start with science fiction, fantasy, mythology,
So
something
would have
else?
started with fantasy. So again, growing up in a fairly religious household where like ninjas were too into the black arts for us. It was The Hobbit was the first book I remember having like read to me as a child, and then The Lord of the Rings is the first series of books I remember not finishing. So it's like I'm a little tired now, but again, Christian, I read all of the Narnia books, and then from there, when I like started getting books from the school library, it was basically like all sci-fi from there. So I've read Neuromancer like once a year since I turned 13, and I got it as a gift. I've read Dune like 5 times or something. So sci-fi, and as soon as I discovered Lovecraft, I mean, obviously you can tell, um, but the like really good cosmic horror is like peak for me. There's not a lot of good stuff out there.
Mm.
There's a lot of bad ones, but when it hits, nothing hits quite like it. And this actually fits on like the spectrum of good cosmic horror.
I was just trying to think about what gives something enough, whatever it is, to feel cosmic. And I gotta say, the music has to have something to do with it. Because it's not about weird sound effects.
No, I mean they can help, but a
I mean, some
killer soundtrack.
glooping and some,
Yeah,
screeching in the distance. Hmm.
yeah.
So Lovecraft. Yeah, I could talk about that spooky guy all day. How many times? You said you read Dune 5 times. Have you read the other books in the series?
I've read Dune 5 times. I've read what's the second one? Messiah or Children?
I always forget which goes first.
Well, it doesn't really matter. I've read both of those twice, and that's it. I will
Okay.
probably get around to it. I'm doing a read through of all of the Expanse books right now. I'm almost on book 4.
Oh, they're so
They
good.
are extremely good, and that show was also extremely good. Uh, and yeah, there's a bunch of other friends of DeSoto that are like tagging along, and so we're all like shooting each other comments on Storygraph. But yeah,
Ooh, that's cool.
yeah,
Storygraph.
yeah, a strong
For folks who
recommendation.
don't know, what is Storygraph?
So Storygraph is a non-Amazon owned like book tracking program slash website. So you can like log what you're reading. It will like give you recommendations and that. I mostly just use it because I've got ADHD and mild OCD. And if I can turn whatever I'm doing into like a game or a visual representation, I get way more done. And so I use that to like motivate me to keep reading, even though I've got a bunch of other things on the go as well. It sort of brings me back to one of my old passions. I,
That's
I
fun.
yeah, I have a my undergrad is in literature, and I spent all of my nerdy childhood and adolescence reading through as many books as I could, and then I get to law school, and from starting law school till mid last year, I read 2 novels over like that 6 year period. And then I like got back into books and I was like, oh yeah, this is great. I love this. This rules. I'm happier now. And so now I'm just chasing that feeling. And again, making up for some lost time because there's a lot of good stuff that's come out and that totally just breezed past me. Oh, one of the 2 books that I did read, I guess it counts as 3, but I read the Area X trilogy, which for some pretty good cosmic horror, the first book in particular, but that series is pretty good. That's
Cool. I'll check that
Vandermeer.
out.
What's his name?
Vandermeer. Oh, I think I read one of his books. It was it might have been you that recommended it.
Yeah. Annihilation is the first of the 3. That's the one everybody
Oh,
would
it's
know.
that guy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Jeff
okay.
Jeff
That
Vandermeer.
book spooked the hell out of me.
Yeah, that book I had a big old stupid grin on my face through most of that. Like I love something that can actually scare me. I guess it's a byproduct of my job or something, but when I start to watch a show or a movie, my brain just starts like looking at the script and like plotting out, where action points are going to happen, where a downbeat happens. And so like my wife can't watch like Black Mirror with me because
Oh,
at least a third of the time I can call it like 2 minutes in. Oh, he's in a coma or whatever. Like, and I can just not say things when I'm with her. But like when a show manages to actually spook me, I like I love it and I respect it and I just can't get enough of it. Can't get enough.
it's like you're chasing that dragon.
Exactly. I remember the
For
first time I was in a theater and I literally felt the hairs stand up on the back of my neck. And I was like, "Whoa, that's wild. This is something. This is art. It's hitting."
mm, that is great. Yeah, I don't know when the first time I felt that was, but It might have been Halloween 3. I was way too young to see it.
That's always the best
And
way.
the mask that turns into spiders or whatever really fucked me up. But the one that really did me in was Nightmare on Elm Street. Again, with the music, like, so goddamn sinister. Like, it messed me up for a long time.
That Johnny Depp scene is so good.
Fucking
so
A.
good.
I don't even know if I made it there. I was so spooked. I was like 9 or 10, I think.
The earliest
something
horror
like that.
movie I ever saw was Alien, and I was 6, and I was sick. I had the flu or something, and I was at my grandma's house, and everybody was going out to dinner at a restaurant, and I couldn't go because I was sick. And so they had just a wall of VHS tapes that my grandpa had built up over the years, and so I just grabbed some and started throwing them in. And so I was just like in the dark, sick, at 6 years old, all alone in like a farmhouse, watching Alien, and that was a great experience.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
That one I definitely slept through. That was my brother's birthday. My parents somehow, I don't know how they did this, but they got a whole bunch of like 10-year-olds out into the mountain with a cabin, plopped Alien on, and like they're 10, I'm 7. I saw one look at that spooky spaceship and I was like, I'm out.
That's a wild birthday. Was that like a theme for your family? Would you like take a bunch of people out to a place and then subject them to a thing?
No, that was a one-time deal. I don't know if it was successful or not, but my brother and his friends seemed to love it. Having seen Alien since then, I get it. It's too goddamn scary.
Are you gonna do that franchise here?
Oh fuck! I mean, I want to do everything. You've seen my list. It's
Yep.
absurd.
It's ambitious.
Oh god, ambitious indeed. I'm looking at. Let's see. You saw Alien at 6. What do I usually ask next? So we could say it's a short line from Alien to The Thing, but how old were you when you first saw The Thing?
The first time I saw The Thing, I was 20 or 21. I was in university, and like I say, I was just like, these are all movies I've heard referenced forever, so I'm just going to sit down and just watch as many as I can. I watched Escape from New York, and then I watched The Thing, and then I watched They Live. And then basically anytime I like had a situation with roommates after that, I would test how well I could mesh with those people by making them watch Escape from New York, The Thing, and They Live.
That's awesome.
It worked out great.
It's like, if you can tolerate these, we can probably hang.
Yeah.
I think when I was younger, that would have been like Akira, Ghost in the Shell, maybe The Godfather.
Man.
But I think now it would just be Star Trek and Doctor Who.
I'm sorry, I keep grabbing the ball and running with it. I do have one.
Please.
I do have one Akira bit as well. I remember, like, I don't remember how old I was the first time I saw it. I do remember renting it from my local video store so many times. And like, I remember distinctly the first time I watched it with a girl. I was like at her place, we're in a room. She's like, hey, let's throw in a movie. And I was like, cool, I've got Akira in my bag. Let's watch that. And like a minute in, my brain just went, oh no, this is the most violent movie that's ever been made. And I never realized it until right now. Right in this moment.
You have to. When I heard that you had it in your bag, I was like, this is really cute. And like, that's cute. He has his movie in his bag. But then as you started to talk, I was like, wait, there's a sexual assault scene real early in this film.
Yeah, we didn't get anywhere near that. I'm talking like that opening scene where that dude is going through like traffic and then he just like decapitates a dog with a gun. and it's like all there, and I'm just like, oh
Ah,
fuck, it starts here. Maybe
yeah.
let's watch that tape you have of uh what was it?
Beaches?
God, I wish. No, it was not Welcome Back, Cotter. Happy Days. She just had like a tape of Happy Days, and I was like, let's do this.
Nice.
Yeah, but they were all in French for some reason, so it was a weird night.
Lundi, mardi, happy day.
Uh, Canada.
Oh. Well,
Mm.
from 6 to 20 and beyond, this is not a movie I would suggest for a first date.
Agree to disagree. Depends. It depends how cool you like. If you're getting up there in age and like you don't have as much time in the hourglass, you're like, can I be with you? The thing. The Thing. I remember when's the first time I watched The Thing with my wife? I don't remember, but I do know that it, along with Die Hard, is one of our must-watch Christmas movies as a family now. It's snowy. It counts. Well, I mean, it is like they're wintering over, right? Like they're like the skeleton crew
Yeah.
keeping the shit from falling apart over winter. So I mean, it is Christmas is happening at some point in there. I don't think they make it that far, but it counts.
Well, hold on a minute.
Yep.
Winter in Antarctica, isn't that summer in the North Pole?
Oh
Aren't they like
no.
opposite?
Oh no. Don't now this is the first time I've ever been. No.
I was thinking about this today because of something in a Vorkosigan book I was reading for the show, and I was trying to figure out which pole they were on because I was like, I'm pretty sure it's opposite, but maybe at the poles it's not. But I know it is for like Australia.
According to Google, it is from June 21st to Tuesday, September 23rd in 2025. So let's not tell anyone in my family that, and we'll just keep a tradition going for no reason, which is the best kind of tradition.
Honestly, our only analog for Antarctica is Alaska, but like more remote. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like who can fathom an empty landscape with no one and nothing?
and like going outside could kill you.
Yeah. Man. All right. Well, we prepped you adequately for The Thing, listener. If you haven't watched it, do so. If you tried and it was too scary, that's fine.
Mhm.
We'll spoil it for you here. I have the screenplay pulled up, and I'm just gonna let the film roll here. So the screenplay is by Bill Lancaster. Do you know anything about this gentleman?
I do not.
Okay.
I know that they went into this project as a remake of the original film, and which was based on a novella from 1938. So this is the second attempt at a film based on that book, by my reckoning.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh. In 1982, he worked on a first draft script of an adaptation of Stephen King's novel Firestarter
Huh.
for Carpenter to direct.
Huh. So did they work together a bunch then?
I think just those 2 times. And then, of course, Carpenter hired someone to rewrite Lancaster's Firestarter draft. The Bad News Bears go to Japan.
They go all the way to Japan and they never leave a van. That's science fiction.
I was like, is this a reference or is he just doing a pun or a
Nope.
rhyme? I guess it's more of a rhyme.
No, they travel to Japan, and I don't think they ever leave an American highway. It gets you where you're going. I don't know.
Yeah. Huh. What's that book series? Oh, from Britain. It's where Judge Dredd is from. It's like Mega City or
Mega
like
City 1?
Mega City 1. Yeah. Then you could drive to Japan.
You could, and I don't know, there may be some sort of land bridge going to Neo Tokyo.
I love a Neo. That's fun.
Yeah.
So this is based on the story Who Goes There by John W. Campbell Jr. I also don't know anything about him. Did you watch the original Thing from Outer Space?
No, I haven't found it easily. I would like to watch that and just finish off, like to complete the set. Um, but Campbell actually, he was huge in sci-fi back in the day. This is one of the novellas he wrote before he took over as the editor. Oh, which magazine was it? He was the editor of like a major sci-fi magazine, and he like found a lot of like huge names in sci-fi and was one of the first places they got like published.
Editor of Astounding Science Fiction.
There you go. That's a pretty good resume.
Hell yeah. Yeah, so his novella, Who Goes There? Okay, I got to read that thing.
It's like
That
70
sounds good.
pages. Yeah, it's not a huge commitment.
Hell yeah. All right, well, those are the people behind it. Oh, the other person was Ennio Morricone, who I saw did the music. I don't know if that's
He did
just
he did the
opening
orchestral
theme.
score, and
Okay.
Carpenter did all the synth tracks. So he did the opening track. He did usually when like the really tense, like we gotta set a guy on fire scenes are happening. Those tend to be the Carpenter ones,
Okay.
which is a
Cool.
shame because I bought the soundtrack and my favorite track is not on it.
Why is that?
It's the Morricone one is all like, studio musicians recording, but I love that opening synth track. It just sets the tone right away.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. Good show. You know what? We should just tape it off the credits. Just keep it.
He Carpenter re-recorded it. His main gig now, I think, I don't know if he's still directing, but like he like tours. He's a touring musician
Yeah.
and he plays like his film scores and it sounds dope
That's
as
so
hell.
cool. Hell yeah. That sounds awesome. I feel like I heard a podcaster who went and saw it and said it was amazing. Yeah. I can't remember which show, but yeah, definitely. It sounds great. So that takes care of Morricone, and yeah, Carpenter does all kinds of great music on all his productions, or a lot of them anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Man. I remember I was doing a project and I was saying to somebody on the project, like, I wonder if you could do a theme that's like basically like John Carpenter. And he was like, huh, what's that? And I was like, I'll look into it. And he was like, oh, like Stranger Things. And I was like, sure, why not?
Yeah. Yeah. It's taking you in the right direction.
Yeah. Blah. Okay. So this explains my note where I wrote, it sounds carpentery, but it's not. But it was. So that note is pointless.
Well, it's right and wrong. Yeah.
Yes. So at the very start, isn't there a spaceship?
Yep. It's like X thousand years ago. You get a spaceship drifting in from outer space, it starts to wobble, crashes into some green and blue planet, and then a dope ass title card.
God, it just looks so good.
It
Has it been
tears through the
remastered?
screen. I have the Blu-ray. But
Okay.
my copy is just 1080p. So there's probably a 4K out there. There are film prints, and you can like go to like
Wow.
one of the cool theaters in your city for like a midnight screening of it on film, and it looks great.
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, and the title, that is like a one-to-one copy of the Thing from Outer Space's logo font.
Ooh.
Yeah. Tearing through the screen.
Hell yeah. These shots of the ridge with the snow are so good. Like, they're kind of oddly shaky, but, like, it's unsettling, which is good for the general vibe.
Yeah, it's given little hints of, like, Mountains of Madness.
Oh, yeah.
And just, like,
It's a Lovecraft reference.
Yeah. And just, like, the stark reality that, like, just like in space, nobody can hear you scream. They can't hear you scream in Antarctica either. There's nobody there.
Yeah. Like, the guys really didn't have a clue what was going on until it was right on top of them.
Unless they knew Norwegian, which they didn't.
No. So, yeah, speaking of Norwegians, we got a brown helicopter with big pontoons. There's a guy hanging out of it with a rifle. And I know it's impossible to train dogs to look like they're actually hunting or afraid or whatever. Like, even if there was a way to do it, it would probably be against animal cruelty rules or something. But this husky looks so happy as he's running across the snow.
Yeah,
And
that dog is having a great day at work. There is one shot.
They're shooting at me. Fun.
I'm surprised he didn't try to fetch that grenade. There's one shot when they get into the camp where the dog like drops to all fours and like sort of like jukes and jives. It is legitimately scared at that point because the helicopter pilot was like 10 feet off the ground and everybody was scared.
Oh.
So that one was an accidental great take. But yeah.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Wow. That's fun. So yeah, we're shooting dogs in this movie.
Off to a good start.
Yeah, I can't remember what I felt the first time I saw this.
I mean, this is how
maybe
John
I'd
Wick
been
starts.
spoiled.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? But like the exact opposite.
Kurt Russell's going to show up and be like, "You shot my dog." But they don't get a chance to complain about it.
Nope.
So we see the Antarctical camp. Anyway, two balding gentlemen playing ping pong. McCready, that's Kurt Russell, is drinking and playing chess on something called the Chess Wizard. And this brings us to our only female actor in this film.
Uncredited.
Chess Wizard.
Doing the voice of the Chess Wizard. The cheating bitch.
Oh, God.
The 80s.
Poor baby. You're starting to lose it, aren't you? So not only does he lose to a computer, because obviously that's how chess works, he pours his whiskey or whatever into the computer.
Yeah.
Which would ruin it.
Yeah.
Right? So no one else can play it.
In fairness, I think he's in his tower. Like, I think that is like a weather tower for the pilots. And so unless there's like other pilots at other points in the year, that's kind of like his shack.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's like, I've had Chess Wizard for 2 months now. I don't want it anymore.
It's just making me mad.
Blow it up.
Yeah.
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 Cool. So this friendly, happy dog arrives at the National Science Station. Helicopter flies over, still shooting. I think I'm gonna skip ahead here. What's my next note? I said the boss looks like a discount Robert Stack. I think that's Gary.
Yeah, it made me think about Babe a lot.
That was my other comp, was James Cromwell.
Yeah.
Or is it James?
Something Cromwell.
Yeah.
That'll do.
That'll do, pig. That'll do. Yeah, so that John Carpenter, I guess this is a thing. He doesn't have a lot of female roles of substance in his films. It's odd because he's real progressive in other ways. But yeah,
Yeah,
not
I
so
like
much there.
you get a lot of like 80s gang babes in Escape from New York. I think the only real speaking roles for women in They Live are like, spoiler alert, traitors. Um, it I will also, yeah, I don't want to spend the entire podcast defending terrible decisions by white men, but uh but yeah,
Isn't this a podcast?
this is our turf. The original book is just dudes. It's all dudes. Third
Yeah.
third
I mean, I don't know what it was like in 1981 or 2 when this was written slash produced, but when the original story was written, I bet there were never women serving in Antarctica.
I looked this up and then I forgot it. Because so
But sometimes you'll look back in history like was more progressive than our idea of it. So there could have been women there from the beginning.
I don't think there were in 38, but before this movie was made, like women had not only like been working at Antarctic stations, but like done the winter over shift as well. But the one thing I do remember from looking it up was they noted that the first time it happened, it was one woman and a station full of dudes as like a trial to see how it would go. And like even like a really dry scientific report was like, that was a bad idea. So maybe like unless you're going to bring a bunch of women to like hang out with each other. You know that survey that went around this year where like women were asked whether they would rather be in the woods with a bear or a guy they didn't know.
Oh, yes.
There aren't even any trees to climb here.
Scary stuff. Why are men?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to circle back to our pre-record conversation about what we can trim. This can go on the. We'll throw this one on a funeral pyre.
Oh my God. So we find out that these guys have been cut off for 2 weeks. Well, I guess I shouldn't skip past the guy coming in, dropping grenades on this dog, shooting it. And then the dog runs up to Clark, who's a bearded guy, and is all like loving on him, which is cute. And then Gary shoots his gun out the window.
Well, Gary shoots one of the Norwegians because the Norwegian is shooting at the dog, but they can't tell because he hits Clark in the leg because the dog is on him. And that's when Gary pops through the sugar glass windows and cracks him.
I love those.
There's a lot of sugar glass in this station.
I love he has a J&B bottle that he was drinking off of, and he just hands it off to somebody. I think it was Fuchs. Oh boy. After the aftermath, they're putting things together. They're just letting the dog roam around.
It's a dog-friendly office.
It's fun. There's this guy Knowles. He likes to roller skate through the building
and blasting tunes.
Hell yeah. So after all that mess dies down a little bit, I think it's McCready says maybe we're at war with Norway.
Although for the first couple of times he brings it up, he keeps thinking that they're Swedish, and people have to keep correcting him.
Yes. Oh my God. I'm going through the screenplay now. I'm gonna try to find out where that is.
Yeah, Keith David, his first line, it said Norge or something.
Keith David plays Childs. So Gary says, "You catch anything he was saying?" He says, "Am I starting to look Norwegian to you, Buana?" I'm going down to Childs' next lines. He's got some great ones. Childs, if people don't know much about Childs, he played the Fire King in Adventure Time, as well as he was in a ton of John Carpenter movies.
Yeah, and he was in later seasons of Community as well.
I got to catch up on that one. Oh, there's a lot of fire in this movie, and then like they hose him down with fire extinguishers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this place has so many fire extinguishers positioned in so many places. It must be a real serious problem down there.
I mean, I guess everything's made out of wood and everybody's chain smoking the whole time, so.
Okay, so your boy Mac, the pilot, Kurt Russell, he flies a couple people, or is it just him and the doctor, Dr. Chopper? So they fly over to the Norwegians' camp to investigate. Back at the, what do you call it? Oh, and McCready says the weather sucks, like it's the storm's coming.
Yeah.
And this dog's hanging out. Somebody asks Knowles to turn down the music in the kitchen, and he's like, "Yeah, of course." It's Stevie Wonder. And then he doesn't actually turn it down, and I was like, that guy's gonna get real mad.
I love that he roller skates over to it, puts his hand on it, and just goes, nah. Fuck this guy.
So yeah, this dog is peeking around, and the spooky Norwegian place is torched. They find a bloody axe in a door.
They find a guy who froze, slitting his own wrists.
Oh, that was so gnarly. It looked like his throat was also cut.
Yeah, he did
But
both,
I don't know
yeah.
if that's... How do you do anything after you cut your throat or your wrists?
You do it quick, whatever you're doing.
Okay, do one wrist first, your offhand, and then cut your throat, and then... Well, no, but then you'd have lost so much blood, you can't use your offhand. 2 scalpels, cut your wrists, both at the same time, and then your throat. And then you're good to go.
So much coordination and planning.
Although a scalpel might be too short. You might want a big Herkin. Oh,
Well, he
I
uses
couldn't do it.
his straight razor in this.
Terrible.
Yeah. But
Terrible stuff.
the station, the Norwegian station that they go to is actually the American station after the end of the film.
Oh, after they did all the battle damage to it.
So they just went back and shot these scenes after the end of the film.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, we got a corpse in a chair, cut his wrists. There's really good depth to this set. Knowing now that it's the same set, but with more stuff. But I really love the icicles hanging on cords. And they'll go behind shelves so you can see like multiple layers.
And there's like banks of computers that are like completely frosted over because the roof is collapsed on them after it was on fire. Just toast.
Incredible. Okay, then I think I must have gotten really focused on the movie because there's a bit of a time jump in my notes. They're looking at the corpse, trying to figure out what happened here. They find a portable video unit. The doctor takes some paperwork. Oh, they find that huge block of ice with like a scoop taken out of it.
Yeah. A big thing-sized hole in a giant block of ice.
Oh my God. So scary.
I love it, like, right out the gate, the first, like, makeup creature effect is dope. It's awesome. Like, it starts crazy, and then they just never let up. There's no, like, it's like the last hour of any Lord of the Rings movie, the animation gets real shaky because they ran out of money. They bought all of this stuff first, clearly, because like there are no corners cut on all of these crazy makeup and animatronic effects.
That's so cool.
So good.
So with your trivia about it being the end of the movie set, was that also the previous multi-corpse that had been, I don't know, messed with? The thing they find like burned next to some gasoline cans?
Walk me through that one more time.
It's like a corpse, but like a bunch of different things stuck together, like a couple dudes.
Yeah, this one is two dudes with their faces like meshing together, and I don't know, a bunch of limbs.
And so they pack it up and take it back to their base.
No.
I don't like that thing is dead, but it comes back to life later, doesn't it?
It starts to thaw out and then starts
That
to do
sucks.
stuff. Yeah. It super sucks.
A drag. My only note until the kennel now is guy sounds like Brimley but looks like Beatty, but it's Wilford Brimley.
Yeah.
So I was right the first time.
And it's like
but he doesn't have his mustache.
No mustache. But we do get to have just the greatest freak out scene later on. Oh man, him and his diabetes doing some damage.
Oh yeah. I loved him in Cocoon.
I have
Batteries Not Included.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he wasn't Batteries Not Included. That's a wild movie. How did that get made?
I don't know. It was almost like it should have been a toy company that sells robot little bug alien things, because it was like so alien forward. It's those little cute guys.
Little hamburger looking dudes.
Yeah. Yeah, hamburger looking dudes. They could have sold hamburgers off the back of it. Maybe if it had been a better film.
Yeah, that's fair.
It is sci-fi though, so I think it has to go on the list.
Yep.
Gosh, I'm just jumping through here. They have a radio guy named Windows,
who was in the Warriors.
He was in the Warriors?
Yeah, have you seen the Warriors?
No, I've heard the references, but
yeah,
I haven't seen it.
It's worth a watch. But a lot of dudes who went on to like be in cool stuff. Also a very dude forward movie.
Warriors,
come out and play.
Oh God, I stopped it on a shot of the multi-corpse faces. It's so awful.
It's so
it's epic.
I forget which it was. Is this the one where like there's a ton of like smoke coming off of it? Or is that... So that,
as it's thawing, it's like steaming.
And everybody's doing their best acting, ooh, this smells disgusting face. But they actually weren't acting, because the smoke that they used to get that effect was like, I don't know how toxic it was, but it was definitely unpleasant. And so them covering their noses and all that, that's just dudes being in a room, no acting required.
Oh man. Yeah, my next note isn't to the kennel. So they're watching a video, they're smoking some weed. The dog leaves the pool room, I think, with Clark. Yeah, the dog must have been annoying somebody, so Clark puts it in the kennel.
Yeah, bumps it into the dude who got shot.
Shit gets weird.
Yeah.
Oh, my note is spooky dog freaks out the others. And then this monster dog is so nasty, launching tentacles and spider legs.
And ooze.
It's got a goo hose.
It's got a goo hose. It's got like tentacle whips.
Oh, those whipping tentacles. That reminded me of like Fast Zombies and 28 Days Later. Like, fuck these fast tentacles. That's not how tentacles should work.
Going crazy. And then it's got like giant crab leg things that like punch through the roof. It's got it all.
Fuck that noise. Oh. Dog's ripping up his gums trying to chew the
Should try to chew the fence open. Yeah, man.
What is that goo? It's spraying all over the dog. I hate it. So Clark goes and investigates. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, for the tentacles that are coming through the door and they have to like, kick it closed and that they actually had a bunch of dudes with like they made whips that looked like those tentacles and they just had dudes going ape shit in that cage, whipping at the walls.
So I have this quote. It's before Childs torches it. Somebody says, "I don't know what the hell's in there, but it's weird and pissed off, whatever it is." So that must have been Clark after
I think it's
he
McCready.
saw the shit. Oh.
McCready is always like
God.
the gruff like everyman. His like it's a building full of scientists, and he's just there like smoking and dumping whiskey on computers and just calling it like he sees it.
It totally passed me by that he was different from them on that basis, because I think of pilots as like fancy, and so I figured they would have gone to similar schools and like known similar people. But McCready is like down home helicopter pilot, was probably in the Army.
Yeah, I think the backstory from they were putting it together is he was like a pilot in Nam, and that's why he has like his jacket is the military fatigues, and the only other dude who has the olive green jackets is what's his name? Who's smoking weed?
Let's see, who smokes weed? Knowles Palmer?
Yeah, Palmer, the guy who plays Palmer. He's got like the cut off like vet vest.
Yeah. I was trying to figure out Window's nickname, and I was wondering if it was based on window pane acid. Because he's real strange. Or maybe he just looks out windows sometimes and zones out. So yeah, everybody comes over and sees this horrible... I mean, everything this thing does is horrible and different and weird, which we learn more about later, or the suppositions around why that might be. But yeah, here come the fire extinguishers after Childs torches it. And then there's this long silent pause while they just kind of take it in.
Standing around in their underwear. Just I like that from like the very first big thing attack. It's the entire cast. Every guy in the station, they're all right there. So everybody saw it. Everybody knows immediately like shit just got really weird. There's no weird first act of the film where like, oh, you're crazy, Clark. You're seeing it. Like none of that. Everybody is like, no, we're all up to speed. We're all here. What the fuck are we supposed to do now?
Yeah. I was telling somebody a similar type of monster was in a Doctor Who serial, and it was called The Horror of Fang Rock. And to spoil Horror of Fang Rock, there's a shape-shifting monster. But yeah, like the first part of that is like, who are you? What are you doing here? Why should I believe you? Monsters? Surely not. And then it's like, it's like there's a bit of mystery, whereas this is like, fuck you. And I think part of it is that because it could be any one of them, or even more than one of them. I think that's it. The fact that it could be multiple things at once, right?
Yeah.
Isn't that proven at some point?
Yeah. They don't know who's been alone for long enough to actually be the thing. They've got the world's both best and worst computer running that simulation.
Oh my God. I definitely took notes on how completely sci-fi that computer was.
I just have one line on my notepad. It's all caps, computers! Exclamation point. Man, computers in the 80s.
This thing in 1982 can do like high-level graphics rendering.
Like genetic modeling in real time.
Right. But without sophisticated inputs, or at least we never see them happening, We just see this program running, and the guy acts like it's the first time he's seen it. So it's not like he spent 6 hours turning the data into graphics to show the others. It's like the machine is doing it for him, which is, I don't even know if they can do that now. Probably, but
And like Wilford
surely
Brimley
not
is
back then.
Wilford Brimley's like the oldest guy on the station. So it's like your dad like rolls up to the computer and just like sequences the human
Just
genome.
cracks his knuckles.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that wouldn't happen. He's
Yeah.
like, I got an email from somebody in Nigeria. They could use my help. That was a Nigerian prince joke. I'm sorry.
Like a real life aside, that keeps happening. For two clients in the last 2 months, I've had to do like internet takedowns of Nigerian companies that were like squatting, like making fake websites that look like my clients' like payment processing sites. And it's always the same dude. It's the same dude, like Emmanuel something in Nigeria. I don't know, man. I guess
He's like an internet pirate, like, what's it called? Mogul?
I guess, yeah, if it ain't broke.
He dominates the industry?
Yeah. Roping in rubes.
I like that, roping in rubes.
Yeah. But he's
like
not gonna
a cowpoke.
Not gonna pull one over on our boys. Got a team of scientists and dudes with flamethrowers. They don't have time for email. They got shit to do.
No.
We got there's so many autopsies in this movie.
Oh, it's just so nasty.
So great.
Everything.
Yeah,
I'm looking at it. When he rips it all the way open and you see the like what should be the bones, and it's like almost like a sculpture.
It's like a stone dog or something in there. And yeah. And
what is this even supposed to signify? It's like a creature from another planet.
And it's a prop that like Wilford Brimley is cutting up with a scalpel and like using muscles to like tear into. This is like you get like one shot at this. There's oh man. No corners cut on any of that. I guess people didn't know things about diseases back in the day. Like the book from the 30s is a bunch of things that make me really upset. But like I just keep seeing people put their hands in shit. And like you guys know that this thing like shapeshifts or whatever. It's an alien. And like Wilford Brimley is like poking it with the eraser on his pencil. And I just like in the back of my mind, I keep thinking like he puts that in his mouth when he's thinking hard, doesn't he? Like this is gross, guys.
Jesus. Oh my God. That'd be funny if at the end he had never become the thing. Even though he's like putting it on his tongue and shit. Like he was immune the whole time.
Yeah, there was too much of it. It's like Mr. Burns and diseases. All of the bits of the thing are fighting over each other to get over this guy.
It would be awesome if that's how vaccines work. If you just dab it on your tongue like 5 minutes before you get infected, you're good to go.
You get poisoned. You just drink a ton of poison. There's too much poison for the poison to poison me. I learned it from The Thing.
That's right. Well, I was just listening to a podcast about a Doctor Who episode where like the premise is that a hospital is keeping all these patients and giving them every disease in the galaxy, which is silly by itself. But then the way to cure it is they put all the vaccines that they created real fast, I don't know how they did it, into vats, which they then pumped through the sprinkler. And so it landed on a person's skin, and that was good enough to cure every disease. I'm saying that was less realistic than,
Yeah. Although if they could have done that, we probably would have got vaccination rates to go up.
Right? If it was that easy.
You just missed
like Americans love convenience. If you could just be like, it's a vaccine tongue strip. Swipe it.
Get a medical grade super soaker.
Okay, that's a vaccine program I can get behind. I'm writing down medical super soaker.
Put the ding in here, I guess.
Okay, yeah. So somebody says that we should burn the bodies, and the other person says, you can't burn the find of the century. That's going to win somebody the Nobel Prize.
Yeah. There's a lot of back and forth about that in the book, too. We can get into that later. But so wait, when did they stick one of the bodies in like the storage room? Is that this one or is that the Two-Face one?
This is the Two-Face one.
The one that Brimley is cutting apart?
Yeah.
Brimley's cutting apart the dog one.
Oh.
And that's how they learn that
shit.
it mimics them. Because like there's no like, oh, what is it
Yeah,
doing? Just
he's talking about
immediately,
imitation.
yeah, this is a fake dog. There's no hesitation. There's no debate. Like, nope, it shapeshifts. It's becoming dogs.
Yeah.
It could become things.
Oh, man. So, yeah, I think I got really into it again because a lot of time passes. I wrote, oh, dude, it's gooping. I don't know what that means. At some point, a couple of them talk out in the tractor. I'm not sure if how far along that is. And he tells somebody that Blair's journal says the things are still alive.
Yeah.
Oh, that must be after Blair gets sent out to the shed. So, yeah, we got a ways to go here. I got stuck on an ad, so I can't skip forward.
Wait, what are you watching it on?
Prime. Fucking such bullshit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can only do premium on so many fucking
no,
services.
man, I got premium, and even that's got ads. It sucks. But I'm in Canada, so it's not on. It's like you cannot stream this anywhere unless you pay money. So I had to go find my Blu-ray player and hook it up for the first time since I moved, and fire it up old school.
That's fun.
And now that disc is somewhere, so I can't watch it. Oh, there it is. Never mind. I'm gonna jump in too, and then we'll be good. Because now I'm trying to remember. Because
cool.
what your note on gooping, it makes me think about when it's like thawing into like blood soup in the storage room while Windows is like poking around trying to find something.
Oh, I moved on too far. They find the spot where the guys dug the thing up, and they head out to investigate.
Oh, yeah, that's now. Yeah, they fly out, and then it's just a fucking huge UFO.
It's a fucking huge UFO.
It's a big old UFO. It's right here.
That's so absurd. So was it just sitting and like over time the pole got colder and like ice grew up around it? Because like at one point Antarctica was green, right? Or at least not ice.
Yeah. So the book theorizes that Earth's magnetic pole was too powerful for whatever the spaceship was, and that's why it crashed on one of the poles. And then like it happened while the Earth was undergoing one of its ice ages, and that's how it locked it in. In the book, they theorize it's like how many? I wrote this one down. No, wrong one. In the movie, when they're looking around, what's his name? The chubby dude in the sweater. He goes to look at the UFO with them. Norris and McCready, they like rappel down, and they're just walking on a UFO.
Oh, they are rappelling.
Yeah,
like legit, like I know those are stunt guys, but like in canon, these scientists are training, right? They're putting in the work.
They're super fit. But yeah, Norris Norris figures it's about 100,000 years ago at least, and in the book they estimate it's like 20 million. So there's your window. It crashed anywhere between 20 million and 100,000 years ago.
How do you get those numbers? Is it because they can't tell at a certain point where the ice began and ended?
Well, yeah, it's like there's like they can see different strata in the ice. So I guess one of them is a geologist or something. I don't know, above my pay grade. But yeah, the way the UFO got exposed is because the Norwegian team, they found something out there. They went to investigate and they like discover this giant UFO and like some things outside of it stuck in the ice. And so they start like digging stuff out. And so you see like a ways away from the UFO crash site, you see a big cube taken out of the ground, and that's the thing that they hauled back and that we saw at the Norwegian station with a hole cut out of it. But for it to get at the
Yeah.
the spaceship, they tried to melt their way down to it with thermite, and then whatever metal the UFO was made out of reacted to the thermite and like burst into flames. And so that entire UFO was under that much ice, and then it burnt through the ice and like destroyed itself or whatever. And so we're seeing like the burnt out husk of the UFO. That's you can
Oh.
kind of tell what's happening in that black and white footage that they get from the Norwegian station. They watch that together. There's a shot where like it turns all like cloudy and white. That's an explosion, or it's supposed to be an explosion of the thermite reacting with the ship, which also happens in the book.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Did they go inside the ship?
So that happens in the 2011 sequel to The Thing, titled helpfully The Thing,
Oh.
so that it's impossible to ever search these things.
Why would they do that?
Yeah, there's okay. That's a question that you can just have chambered for when we talk about that movie because you're going to say it a lot. But yeah, so yes, short answer, in one of the films, they do in fact go inside this UFO. They don't do it in the book, can't do it here. But yeah, I have feelings about that as well.
So we see the cutout section, and then we're back at the lair. McCready's telling him what they found. The thing crawls out, ends up freezing in the ice, and then Keith David, as Child, says, "I can't believe all of this voodoo bullshit."
Child's rules. Keith David is great in everything.
Hell yeah. But he loved his line so much that he says to another guy, "Do you believe all this voodoo bullshit?" Or do you believe any of this bullshit, Blair? And then this other dude, maybe he's Palmer, he says Chariots of the Gods, man. And I've read Chariots of the Gods by Eric Van Daniken.
Yep.
And it was like one of the early proponents of the ancient aliens theory.
Yep.
And it's a cool book, but like very thin on evidence.
Yeah,
of
and
any
also
of
like
that stuff.
extremely racist, it turns out. But like in
Well,
in
of course,
82,
yes.
in 82, this is like the Necronomicon or something. This is like arcane knowledge that only people really tapped in to the counterculture would know about. Palmer.
Oh my god. Okay, so the fancy computer thing is after that. It's like cell intruder, assimilation complete, cell dog imitation. And then probability that one or more team members may be infected by intruder organism, 75%.
You get a very concerned Brimley face.
It even gives a prediction. The entire world population infected 27,000 hours from first contact. That's absurd. Oh, so this is where they're moving the corpse into the storage unit, or into the storage room, rather. Ugh, it's so gross. Oh, yeah, and Windows is like, we should burn this, and Fuchs says, can't burn the find of the century.
Right.
That's going to win somebody the Nobel Prize. And this is when it starts gooping. It's this red gel. It's like an icicle of spuge. It's just not okay.
Yeah, it's like it's definitely not blood, but it's not blood.
So who goes out to the tractor? It's McCready and...
Oh, and the dude who has like a jar of acid later. Fuchs. I think it's him and Fuchs, right?
Oh, this is Fuchs? Yeah, so he took one of the guy's notebooks, one of Blair's notebooks. It could have imitated 1,000,000 life forms on any planet, could change into any one of them at any time. Now it wants life forms on Earth. It's getting cold in here. I haven't slept in days.
And I love that even...
So it's been days?
I guess it's been a few days, but I think it would be hard to tell if it is winter in Antarctica because, like, you're not going to get a day-night cycle or something. I'm overthinking it, clearly. But, I mean, it's probably been a couple days since they, like, flew out to the Norwegian camp, came back, burned a bunch of shit, and then put it out again. But I love that McCready is, like, they've seen a bunch of crazy shit. They've set some things on fire. They know there's aliens. And McCready is still, like, bored. When Fuchs is, like, reading from the journal, and, like, Fuchs is be like, no, listen to this. Like, what are you gonna...
He's like, get to the point.
Yeah, what else do you gotta do, man? You already burnt your computer.
He says they're not dead yet. And McCready's face just goes, ugh. The implications. It's all about the implications.
Mm-hmm.
I like that Fuchs thought to have that chat in the tractor.
Yeah, because, like, he doesn't know. He doesn't know who is a thing. Who's a the thing.
So Windows comes in. He's like, hey, Bennings, gotta get some sleep. And he looks at the chair, and it's a goopy mess.
And it's a goopy mess that's becoming the shape.
Yeah, he turns slowly. Holy shit. Oh, yeah, Bennings is being wrapped up by some tentacles in the corner. Oh, so nasty.
Yeah, and when you want to get, like, real deep in the game of, like, okay, who's a the thing at any point, one of the key points for people who watch movies too closely is when he sees that guy becoming a thing and he leaves the room, you can hear the keys hitting the floor. And those are the keys that get into the medical storage later on. That only the doc and Gary, the doc, and, like, everybody's got a crazy name, and then the dude who's in charge of everybody is just Gary.
Yeah. Let's see. Bennings got absorbed. Is Bennings the one that turns into a thing? And they burn him up outside in the snow?
Yeah, Benning's the one that's out there with the crazy hands, and he does that, like, Invasion of the Body Snatchers scream at them.
Yeah.
And he's just, like,
so
surrounded
awful.
by dudes holding flares. And there's just nothing to do, so I'm just going to scream at you.
Yuck. He goes up big. I love some poor stuntman did that stunt. Or maybe it was a dummy. Might have been a dummy. They shot it from above.
They definitely had a stuntman later when he runs through the wall. That one's fun.
Yes, that is the most amazing sequence.
So good.
He fucking Kool-Aid man's right out the side.
On fire.
So Gary, the base commander, I thought it was odd that he's not taking charge. Everyone seems to defer to Mac.
Yeah, like he's looking at a thing, man, and, like, but I know him. I've known him. Like, it's like, guy, I thought we were all on the same page here. That's one of the, like, few differences with the book is that when things pop off like this, there is no hesitation in anybody. Like, there's a sequence where they're doing. We can talk about it later when they do the test. But everybody is, like, hard as fuck in the book. Oh, yeah, it's hard to tell. I think this is an animatronic. I don't think this is a dude in a suit.
Though when it gets torched.
Yeah.
So once he torches them, then they, like, pour on even more and burn it some more. Blair freaks out and runs out and starts fucking up the choppers and the tractor and stuff. He's chattering incoherently, according to the subtitles. He busts up the computers. So I don't think he's thinged yet. he just wants to destroy any way that they could like get a word out, right?
Either he's not a thing yet, or he is a thing and he knows that they're figuring all this stuff out, and so like out of self-preservation, he's distancing himself as much as possible from the other things.
Oh, we know he is because later we find out he was building a spaceship.
Yeah, the sequences with him out in the shack are so good. But like,
my god,
pour one out for the ghost of Wilford Brimley, because him just going ham in the computer room, just smashing everything with an axe. He does that old timey guy with a gun where he's like pushing the bullets at them. It takes like what?
Yes.
It takes Keith David, Kurt Russell, and like two other guys to take down a portly Wilford Brimley, because that's how amped up he is. I've never seen anybody act this hard before or since. This scene fucking rules.
Wow. It's like almost like a not broadcast news, network kind of speech he's given as he goes to town.
Yeah.
It could imitate everything on the face of the earth, and it's not going to stop.
That thing wanted to be us. That's his freak out.
I'll kill you. I'll kill you. And he throws his gun.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. So good.
Also, like, what is this room? It's like all these like mainframe computer racks. It's the radio room?
Yeah,
what
I mean,
are they doing
you
with all
wouldn't
this?
think that those were necessary unless they were crunching data down there.
Yeah. Or they just
for their experiments or whatever.
Or that's the room where they go to blow off steam and they just have like a bunch of those for dudes to smash up when they start to go crazy. It's like those places you can go and you pay like $40 and you get to throw plates at a wall for 15 minutes.
Yeah, I think my headcanon is that they're for specific research programs, and so they could be destroyed without fucking up the power system or something that
it also looks
filmmaker doesn't want to be busted yet.
It looks like there's a sound booth in the background too.
Yeah. I guess they got to record their maybe they do podcasts back there.
Yeah, or they know that they're going to burn this place to the ground and come back to film later, so it's got to look scientific and weird. And Norwegian.
Hell yeah. Oh man. I went back to the fight. It's so great. McCready has to hit the axe with the table.
Yeah.
And he's still going afterwards.
Get an axe. Dodging an axe to the face. Bum rushing a dude with a folding table.
So they lock Blair into the tool shed.
Yep. After finding out that Blair has killed all the dogs as well.
Yes. Messed up the computers, tractor, choppers. So I have this note, trust's a tough thing to come by these days. Oh, yeah, McCready and Blair chat for a bit. And Blair says, I don't know who to trust. And he says, I know what you mean, Blair. Trust's a tough thing to come by these days.
And then...
Tell you what, why don't you just trust in the Lord? I think that's the only religious statement in this whole film.
While McCready is drinking from his vodka, Blair's a thing. Blair's walking around with that bottle throughout the movie, and so if he is a thing and he's been drinking from that vodka, that's Thing vodka now.
Oh no!
I don't know if they thought about that. In the book, they use alcohol
to Thing live in vodka.
I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe we should all be drinking vodka like we're working at a Russian nuclear station.
Oh yeah, we cut over to the Russian science station, and they're like playing cards with the Thing, and like
the Thing
taking
keeps like
him for all his
trying
money.
to get in them, and they're like, nah.
They just shake their Smirnoff bottles at him.
Too clever.
You couldn't get me, Thing. Oh, jeez. Blair says to watch Clark closely. They're going to make a blood serum test. I think that's Chopper is going to make it, the doctor.
Yep.
Or is that a scientist?
That...
I think Fuchs is the biologist and Chopper's the doctor.
Yeah, Dr. Chopper.
I don't know. I don't know if they ever specifically parse out their particular jobs.
Yeah, he's the one who's walking around with the doctor bag, and he's like the one administering shots of morphine or whatever to chill Blair out.
Yeah. So then there's just this paranoid mess after they discover the blood packs all damaged.
And only two
so they
people
don't have a
had
control
keys.
group.
Yeah. Their control group is gone. They can't tell who's the thing. And only Dr. Chopper and Gary had keys. So now
then I must have been locked in again because I don't have any notes until Windows tries to grab a gun. And I know there's a lot of stuff in between there.
Oh, actually, so yeah, they're everybody's like pointing fingers. Who could have done it? And Windows had the keys for some reason earlier. That's what he dropped when the goop was melting in the storage. And so I think he's both scared that somebody is a thing, and that people are going to think that he's a thing. So go grab a gun. And they got a lot of guns back there, it turns out.
Yeah, I know. Okay. Because it's technically a government installation, and Gary, I think, is a military official of some kind.
He looks kind of military. He dresses...
Or at least he used to be. And I know there's Russians and other groups down there, but there's no wildlife whatsoever to be had. So... yeah, it seems excessive, but maybe it's just in case of invasion.
Yeah, because polar bears are up north, right? So, yeah, I don't know what it is.
Okay, it's like an embassy with 10 people in it. You know, it's considered your land, right?
And so
if an embassy was invaded, what, like half of the guys would get a gun?
That's right. It was also the 80s. Maybe that was just to like shoot when you're bored.
Oh yeah, just out skeet shooting or whatever.
Yeah,
I couldn't tell if they were rifles or shotguns.
They look like shotguns.
Yeah, definitely more useful in a little station. So Clark's got his knife out. Oh, this is when they're trying to decide who should lead instead of Gary, because Gary clearly can't hack it.
We can't hack it, and there's like a 50-50 shot in their minds that he's a thing.
Right. So they decide Mac will hold the weapons, and I'm not sure how much time passes, but Mac decides they're going to drug Gary, Clark, and Copper with morphine.
Yep.
I think that's quite a bit later. Oh, they're melting the blood packs. He tells Fuchs to work on a new technique.
And they're laying down the rules. Nobody goes anywhere alone. This and that. Yeah. Getting real serious.
Oh, so I think Fuchs drew everybody's blood. And so, of course, Fuchs is the next person to get thinged, right? Because he's getting too close to the situation.
Yeah, that one, it's ambiguous because they find Fuchs's burnt body after Fuchs runs out and finds like somebody's torn up jacket because they find out that the thing tears through
it says R.J. McCready across the back of it.
Yeah.
So he finds Mac's coat, and then we don't know what happened to him.
And then the next time we see him,
McCready's like, we got to go find him. Some of them go to check on Blair. But like one guy doesn't want to go with Windows. He wants to go with Childs instead. Oh, that's Palmer.
Yeah.
Like what's
the paranoia starts up.
They're splitting into groups, I guess.
Yeah.
Whoever they think isn't infected.
We're just gonna watch each other. I love so much that when they go to check on Blair, they pop open the window and Blair's like, "I'm fine now. I want to come back in." And he's acting kind of sane, but in every single shot, there's just a noose that he has made and hung from the rafters in between him and McCready for the whole conversation. So good.
There's more than one. I'm just seeing one.
Oh, just the back and forth shots.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah. Yeah. Why would you? I guess, is that in case they stop feeding you or giving you water? Like,
I
just might as well get ahead of the game.
My read is that like Blair can't be at 100 insane the whole time. He's gonna like calm down or whatever, but he needs to be out in the shack to work on his thing. And so he's gonna like act like he's calmed down, but be suicidal, or at least like pretend to be suicidal, so that they can't let him back inside. He has to keep being too dangerous to let in, but not dangerous enough to think he's a thing.
Okay,
Yeah.
very smart. These things are smart.
They're pretty smart.
Yeah, it reminds me of the Daleks in Doctor Who. How they could beat you with overwhelming firepower, but they prefer to be like sneaky and
Which is
trick you
hilarious
into
because
things.
they're trash cans with like PC Mac speakers at full volume. I would love to see a remake of this movie where people get turned into Daleks, and there's like
Oh my
4
God.
dudes and 3 Daleks in a room, being like, it could be any one of us.
How can I trust you?
You
are not logical.
We need to look at your human blood. I mean, blood.
Oh God. Let's see. Blair says I hear funny things out there. Fuchs bought it. Did he burn himself? What do you think? Did Fuchs burn himself?
Hey, did he burn himself, or did like a thing see that he was like caught and he did it? I don't know.
I guess we don't know how long it needs to be alone with you before it can imitate you.
Yeah, it's got to be I think it's like more than 15 minutes, but like it was alone with not Palmer. I always forget everybody's names. The dog guy.
Clark.
Yeah, like the dog was alone with Clark for like what, 4 hours during the day? But
yeah.
Turns out
I think I lost you.
Oh, sorry. No. I don't want to jump into the spoilers. It turns out Clark is not.
You were leaving it like, hey, stay tuned. We'll take a quick break and we'll be right back. Let's see. Here's a quote. We're going to my shack. What for? Because when I left yesterday, I turned the lights off and the lights are on. Okay, so that's Mac talking about the pilot shack.
Yeah, because like people are missing. Everybody's running around like fortifying the joint, but everybody starts getting like, they don't split up, but they keep getting split up by like the weather or somebody gets spooked. So like it's the classic horror setup of like everybody is by themselves for long enough for something bad to happen, but they're not doing it because of stupid reasons. It's like,
yeah,
what you gonna do?
So they barricade the door. They don't want McCready to come back in. And somebody's like, Childs, what if we were wrong about him? Then we're wrong. McCready comes in and he has dynamite. He says, anyone messes with me and the whole camp goes. And that for the rest of like, for the next 15 minutes or whatever, he's got the dynamite.
Yeah, he's walking around with a bunch of sticks of dynamite, like electrical taped to his jacket. With his sombrero for some reason.
Did it have long ties or whatever to like?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's always like hanging off his back. Yeah, so he's just holding everybody hostage with dynamite, and then we get to the blood test. Oh wait, no, we're missing one of the best.
I think Norris gets knocked out, and he's not breathing. The thing eats Copper's hand and then goes full nightmare. So that's we're not quite there yet. They're trying to wake up. Yeah, a lot of these guys have similar looks or whatever. I'm trying to figure out who this is that's on the table. Is it Norris?
Yeah. Norris has like a heart attack or something. And then his hands eat the doctor. His gut eats the doctor.
Yes, it comes out of his body or his face or something? Does it come out of his chest?
And then like a spider Norris is up on the ceiling while regular Norris is on the table, and then his head, while the body is on fire, his head tears itself off to run away and turns into a
so disgusting.
spider head with weird eye stalks.
Fuck this thing. I'm looking at it. It is so incredible and so fucking vile.
Yeah, and it's got your green goo. There's so much goo in this.
Oh, its tentacle like grabs a chair and so it can pull itself away from the fire. Nobody notices it, and then it spiders out again. God damn it. Fuck this thing.
You get Palmer's best line in the movie. You gotta be fucking kidding me.
You gotta be fucking kidding.
So good.
All right. They cook the spider head. And after this, MacReady decides to tie everyone up and test their blood.
Yeah. Because when he saw the body could tear itself apart and still be alive and like try to run away. Every part of a thing is the thing. And so if you take a part out and it reacts, you're the thing.
And then he's got this quote, "You see, when a man bleeds, it's just tissue. The blood of one of you things won't obey when it's attacked." So I thought maybe the thing was all one hive, but really it's just a bunch of the same thing with the same drive. What we don't know is if they have actual sentience, because they never try to communicate.
Yeah. It comes up a bunch in the book.
Or I guess, do they have to be sentient to use their imitations' minds to like trick people and stuff? I guess they do.
Yeah, it's unclear in the movie. I'll just jump in. Like in the book, the alien thing appears to have telepathy, and when they find it, like the people who are spend a bunch of time with it start having crazy nightmares and that. And because of the telepathy, the thing not only can physically copy the people, but it can also tell kind of what they're planning to do. And so there's two layers. Not only do they have to come up with a plan to beat this thing, but they have to do it quickly, quick enough that it can't, preempt what they're trying to do. And it's supposed by the scientists in the book that once the thing has absorbed a species, it goes into like a sort of like memory library of species, and it can start turning into those things at will after.
So nasty.
Yeah.
And that must be why in the movie it's just all these different parts of things that we can't even recognize.
Yeah. So I guess if it was in the book, like each of the parts could be communicating telepathically with each other and maybe like making risk assessments like, okay, you're gonna eat it so that they don't suspect me, but we're all like as a group we're gonna make it out. Or it's just a dumb animal and it's all like everything for himself. I don't know what's scary.
Yeah. Do we see them like cooperating with one another?
No, because like Blair doesn't appear to have any plan to like go back and scoop up as much thing blood as he can to take with him in his saucer.
Yeah. So they're purely focused on their own survival.
Yeah.
And propagation, maybe? Procreation?
Yeah, as soon as they can like get a new host, they've got that much more of itself that they can split off and run around with.
Jesus, so scary. So when they cook Palmer, that's when he does the fun stuntman firewalk.
Yeah.
Then he rushes through a wall.
After he eats Windows' head and is like a double-stacked man flopping around.
And the way he's able to do that is because MacReady's flamethrower won't work.
There's a great shot of like this double man thing monster like trying to walk around and slipping in its own blood. It's so
awful.
And that's when you get the stunt guy bursting through a wall. Oh yeah. out into the snow.
Oh shit. I noticed that, well, the fire extinguisher thing comes up again here, which is over and over again. Eventually, like, Carpenter just decides, yeah, they fire extinguishered that one too. We don't need to see that bit. You know, and I thought maybe they ran out of fire extinguishers on set that day. And he's just like, yeah, you get it. Imagine being Knowles after that to be the next person to be tested.
Yeah, I love that. I love everybody. As soon as they get proven not to be a thing, like even Childs, like the coolest, toughest guy in the crew, as soon as he's left on the chair, he's like, "No, guys, get me out of here, get me away!" Like everybody's flipping out.
Oh shit! Get me out of here! Cut me loose! Cut me the hell! Come on! Get me out of here! Come on! Get me out of here!
And then Gary,
it just
like
smash cut to Gary just sitting there looking sad,
just sad and like kind of bored and pissed off. And then when they test him and he's not a thing, he's been like uptight and like, you know, the dad of the group the entire movie. And then he just also gets to flip out.
Yeah.
I'd like to not spend the rest of the winter tied to this fucking couch.
Oh, good one, Gary. So now they're going to go out to give Blair the test. And that's when they find out that someone let him out. And there's a secret lair. Oh, there's some really great shots at this point of them climbing the guy wires and the snow is starting to come down. And they got the flares out. Mm-hmm. Like the colors, everything is so beautiful. And then you're back inside, all claustrophobic some more. And they go underground. And I just have to ask, like, was there always an underground lair under the shed?
No,
or can the thing carve out ice? Is that what it's done?
Yeah, I think Blair's been out there for so long that he dug down, made this place, stole a bunch of tools and like whatever to like.
He's got a workbench for Christ's sake.
He's got one of those tool chests on wheels. There's like a jet engine down there.
Oh man.
So I guess we now have an answer. The thing is super smart, it turns out.
Oh, right, of course. So that Doctor Who episode, the Horror of Fang Rock, it's also super sentient and could probably fix its spaceship. But you don't. They hold that info back a while there too. I guess. Why do you think they feel the need to have a spaceship?
Well, that also happens in the book. I think it's just making clear that like if this isn't something you can just like sit on. Like you have to proactively go out and get rid of these things or they will find their own way back like to civilization and take over your planet. It's like a ticking clock. Like we can't just like survive until spring and hope that help comes. Like we got to deal with this now. In the way it happens in the book, they bust in and there are like 3 things that the thing has made. It's got like a nuclear reactor that it built out of, I don't know. And it's also like making the place super warm and comfortable. And then he's got some other thing that isn't done and an anti-gravity belt.
Holy shit.
And he's like about to strap himself into an anti-gravity belt to just like jump back to like Patagonia or whatever. And yeah, I'll tell you how the book ends when we get to the end of this one. But yeah, there's a lot of parallels and a lot of differences.
That's amazing. So Blair got back inside and blew the generator. Childs is missing.
Yeah, and so we got Knowles, McCready, and Gary.
Yeah, McCready thinks that it now just wants to freeze and wait for its next opportunity.
So they got to burn it all to the ground. I
Man.
love just from like the filmmaking with it. When we first get to the station, we get a bit of a walkthrough. So you get, the lay of the land, you see where the people do their things. And then now you get another walkthrough of just like the empty station, and it's just tight little hallways and like tons of spaces where things can hide. And so it just gives you like a sense of scale and claustrophobia and tension, just setting up for like a showdown. And then it just pans over basement. Well, what's going to be down there? Nothing good ever happens in a basement in a horror movie.
This basement looks fucked up before anything has happened to it.
Yeah. Like what American research station has like a dungeon?
I feel like Carpenter was just like, I really want to transition to a spooky antique store, but I'll just say it's a basement.
I got a great deal on the cave from the Goonies. We'll just change the lighting. It's going to work out great.
When did One-Eyed Willie go to Antarctica?
He's at the Thing.
It was the original The Thing. So yeah, they're just busting up. They're lighting off dynamite, Molotov cocktails, the whole bit.
They got the
there's
classic
such good
old-timey
lighting.
plunger for the big stacks of dynamite.
Oh, yes. There's such good lighting here because it's like Molotov cocktail, flare, dynamite.
Yeah, all the outside lights are like those cold blue lights in a blizzard, and then everything that like with the humans running around, all of their lights are super red.
The place is starting to look like a Starfleet vessel in the middle of a firefight with like girders hanging down.
Yeah, there's a lot of just like loose timber to get blown around in explosions.
Yeah, I think they must just really make things sturdy down there just in case.
You
I don't
gotta
know
have something
what the
drop on
basement
Worf's
is
back.
for, though. The
Yeah.
ice basement. It's carved out of the ice.
And that's where they keep their generator and like a pyramid of fuel barrels. And a spooky cage?
Oh my God. There's just stuff dripping everywhere.
Yeah, icicles on everything. The stairs look like they're made out of like it looks like somebody blasted those with a fire extinguisher.
Totally. So the cage, McCready says we got to bring this whole place right down into the ice. So that's when he's like, distribute the dynamite.
Yeah, and the generator's already kind of on fire.
Oh shit. This is where Blair face fingers poor Gary.
Yeah. In my notes, I already gave him a hand sandwich. Because like there's some like weird, grisly deaths in this, but like they spend a lot of time. You get a couple shots of just fingers going into Gary's face.
So nasty.
Yeah, that's wild. That's the one that would have given kids nightmares, I think, out of all of these. Because it still looks like a guy.
Yeah.
But
What's
like
going on with that
Nightbreed.
face?
Yeah.
So upsetting. Oh, Nightbreed is pretty upsetting.
Yeah.
Not a great movie, but some great
No.
effects.
Great effects. It's every character is in the uncanny valley.
Okay, so Mac is setting his big detonator, his dynamite plunger, and all of a sudden now the thing is a sandworm.
Yep.
Because it just rolls through the ice, pops out, or whatever, the wood floors, I don't know what's under there, and blasts up, destroys the detonator, and
Really, it
it's
grabs
a
it with its
dinosaur?
tentacle. Yeah. Yeah. It's got his like Harryhausen stop motion tentacle arm grabbing stuff down a hole.
A dog head comes out of it.
Yeah, it's like
too many legs.
It's like its final version is like the greatest hits of all of its thing takeovers through the whole movie.
Oh man.
That crazy, like it's like a wet dog spider that is sideways. It's very upsetting.
Okay, now when he blows it up with one stick of dynamite, it goes very large. And then I guess that sets off the other dynamites. Is that how
Yeah.
dynamite works?
Yeah, I think dynamite's volatile enough. You get it a little bit on fire and it's gonna go up.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. So his last line to the monster is, "Yeah, fuck you too." Nasty creature blows big. Max survives. He's outside, he's drinking, and he runs in to Child's.
Yeah. Child says he got lost in the snowstorm, and the only reason he came back now is because the entire base is on fire, so he could see where to go.
And plus, it'll be warm
For a bit.
while they wait to die. How will we make it? Maybe we shouldn't. Why don't we just wait here a little while, see what happens? Childs takes a drink, and here come the bum-bums.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I want to listen to that tune here. Bum bum. Bum 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 bum. So good.
You always leave him on a cliffhanger.
Yeah, so people speculate that one or both of them are thinged. But even if they aren't, and even if somehow they survive, I feel like if the thing can survive in multiple goops, surely there's a pile of goop hidden in a snowbank somewhere, right?
Yeah. Yeah, this doesn't feel like they're not 100%ing this run. This is triage at best.
Oh, and at some point, it must have been early. I have this wild note just hanging out here doing nothing. I said, "How'd the guy live being frozen?" Oh, somebody asked Smack that, and he says, "Because he's a space guy."
Asked and answered.
That's right. So now that we've gone through the chronology, how do you feel about this movie? Where does it stand in the pantheon?
I think it's in my all-time top 5, easy. Even like, the further back you go in the history of film, pacing becomes an issue in a lot of movies. But this one is like pedal to the metal pretty much from jump. It opens with a chase and a firefight, and then it's just crazy creature effect. A bunch of dudes in a room pointing guns at each other. Crazy creature explosion. More crazy. Like it's got so many action points that there's never any downtime really. It just goes. And like the acting is all pretty good. Like you'd think, a creature feature from the 80s, you get a lot of B schlock, but like nobody's phoning it in. And even though there's not a ton of big names, like everybody's bringing it. And the dudes who like were established actors, like, they're in it 100%.
Hell
Like,
yeah.
yeah. I don't know, man. I love this movie. And it's interesting that like back in the day this was clearly a horror movie, whereas like today when you watch it today, it's kind of more an action movie with monsters. It's a lot like there's not a lot of like being chased, right? Like there's the hunt at the end where the thing is like coming for him in the weird basement. But for the most part, if it pops out, either you kill it or it kills you. It doesn't like
I,
chase you through the woods. It doesn't chase you like down a hallway.
yeah,
Like,
I like the comp of an action movie. It also has the sort of Harrison Ford thriller, or like what's that one with Malkovich where he's an assassin? He has a wooden gun. Clint Eastwood is protecting the president. Whatever
oh, that
that
sounds
one is.
awesome. I don't think I've seen that one.
Oh
Malkovich
shit!
as an assassin sounds pretty cool.
Let me Google this. Malkovich Eastwood assassin movie. In the Line of Fire.
Okay.
Directed by Wolfgang Peterson. Renee Russo's in it. She's great.
Yeah. Like what's you?
We can't put that on our list because it's not speculative in any way. All of that could happen in real life. Maybe we could do a fun special side quest.
Is that one of the Jack Ryan movies?
I think it's totally original. I don't know if it's
Huh.
based on a series or what, but I don't think it's part of another series that has movies.
All right. Well, so like, what's your take? Where, like, how did this make it on your list, and where do you rank it?
Okay. I like science fiction horror. You know, like I like Alien, I like Aliens, but generally I don't enjoy living in terror. So I think for this movie, actually having to stop every so often and take a note was helpful. To like dial down some of the terror, you know, it's really the like isolation, the claustrophobia, the paranoia. Even I think I have weird fears around people acting in ways they're not supposed to.
And like when you get accused of something that you haven't done, it's
Ooh,
like an
that's a big one
impossible
too.
scenario. Like, yeah, the more you try to prove that you're innocent, the more guilty you look. So, and like when the stakes are people are going to set you on fire now, like, yeah, it's
I mean, I
terrifying.
would be pretty defeatist about it, I think, other than that I want to save the world from it. Yeah, it's a weird tension between like I want to do everything I can to save humanity, but also I don't want to get killed because then I'm out of the fight. But I'm also not good at fighting or shooting. So I'd probably be one of the first to go. I'd be Fuchs, probably.
So, who do you think is the first one to get infected?
The first one? Well, that's the
Yeah.
thing. It could be anyone, right? Because it could be Clark or it could be
Well, it's
whoever
not.
was hanging out.
It actually can't be Clark, because when he's dead, he's human.
Oh,
Yeah, because
right.
Clark had the scalpel, and he like tried to rush McCready, and McCready just pops him in the head. And
So are you
whoops, you
asking
kill the person.
who was the first?
Yeah, like who do you think from the crew at the station was the first?
I mean, technically Bennings was, right?
Well, Bennings got changed after, or like around the time that was it Blair? Blair was like about to run those calculations. Like, when did Blair get infected? When the dog is, before it's revealed that the dog is a thing and it's just walking around the station, there's like a couple shots where it just like follows it on a little trip, like from room to room, looking around. And on one, like when that shot ends, it fades to black as the dog goes into a room with like somebody, like the shadow of somebody's head that like turns to look in the dog's
Oh.
direction as it goes in. And like it's like it looks like curly hair. So it's probably Norris or Windows. And it's not Windows, so probably Norris. I don't know. See, like when I watch the movie now, it's less like any horror and more like a puzzle, because it's fun to just
Yeah.
like think like, hey, how did this go? How could this have happened? Would alcohol kill it? And in that sense, like it's a movie that just if if you're into it, it kind of just it can go forever. It's like a roguelike. There's like 100 different ways you could interpret it, and it's just however you feel like watching it that time.
It's really fascinating to think that if it had landed literally anywhere else, land that was land, like it would have been able to sweep easy. But because it was trapped in the ice. Yeah.
Yeah, we just like lucked out. just totally dodged a cosmic bullet. Hey, just like The Expanse.
Yeah. Yeah, spoiler alert for The Expanse season 3? 4?
I think it's 2. I think by season 2 they know like what the proto molecule is. Spoilers. The show
Oh,
gave
I was thinking of the bullet that they learn more about at the end of season 3. And it's bigger in the books. The weird thing that just floats in space but like moves with your starship. Do you know what I'm
Oh,
talking about?
I think that's a little bit later on too. I was just talking about like the original proto molecule on whatever that moon was. Not
Oh
Ganymede.
yeah, it was like Europa or Io or something.
Yeah, like that wasn't a moon. It was like a thing. Well, anyways, we don't, we don't have to spoil a bunch of stuff for people. I guess that series wrapped in 2022, so it's
Let's see. That
it's
was about 158. I'll just punch in a little spoiler for Expanse.
whoops. But yeah, so this there is a 2011 film which it's set in the Norwegian camp right before this. Mary Elizabeth Winstead is in it, so there is like a woman in the series finally. Joel Edgerton, I think, is in it, but like it's not very good. And it's super frustrating because they hired I think it was Rick Baker's like effects company to make a bunch of practical effects for it. But then either the studio like pulled rank or the director like didn't set up shots properly or something. Like if people point fingers a lot after the fact. But for whatever reason, all of those shots got taken out and replaced with just god awful CG. And so
Oh,
it's
jeez.
not a great movie. Like there are scenes where you're just like watching actors try to figure out what to do with their hands because like the dialogue's not great, the blocking's not great, and then on top of all that, it's just bad effects. So the Swedes find this thing, they find the spaceship, they go down there, they actually walk around the ship for a bit, and then things happen, and there's a rampage through the building, which of course results in the building being this in the state that it's in. You get a shot of like a guy trying to hit a thing spider and putting an axe in the wall. Hey, that's the axe that we see. One guy goes crazy, slits his wrists. It's got the prequel problems where everything has to end up where it
Yeah,
does,
you got to hit all the prequel beats.
and it's just not that good. But so they're both actually basically the book. The book kind of covers all that. It like opens with like all the dudes gathered around some frozen thing on a table. They found it, they brought it back. The whole first chapter is just explaining what they found. Talks about the spaceship. Hey, we used thermite to get down there, but it's probably made out of magnesium or whatever. So the entire thing went up. So like it was an alien, I can tell you that, but we can't prove it because the ship is gone now. It's ash. But
Oh,
we got
okay.
this thing and we pulled it out and it's like who knows, 5 million, 20 million years old. It's been frozen in the ice and it's horrible and we hate it. It's got like 3 red eyes and a bunch of like blue tentacles and stuff. Uh, and the whole second chapter is just a bunch of scientists debating whether or not it's safe to thaw out and autopsy this thing. Could we get diseases from it? And then, things happen. The blood test is like a huge factor. Like they actually do the serum test and like they rely on that for a while, but then it turns out there's some double crossing. They eventually get to like just poking blood with a hot needle to see what happens. So it's like pretty much all of the story points of both modern, like both like 80s and 2000s a thing movies do. Um, but like every character is a sort of stereotypical old timey, tough guy in a science fiction film. There's no
Hmm.
moral waffling. So like there's a scene where like one guy turns out to be a thing and the rest of the guys literally tear him apart. They tear they just grab him and tear him to pieces and then burn the pieces. No hesitation. Um,
Wow.
yeah, it's wild. And then it's also like the scale is unfilmable, right? It's 37 men in the camp. And then when they're using animals for the test, they have 4 cows, a bull, and nearly 70 dogs is the count that they give. It's like, you know, no 80s horror films is gonna film that. And then yeah, so the in the end, the thing has built a nuclear reactor, and again, this was written in like 1938, so that's pretty cool, cutting edge, like an anti-gravity belt and whatever else. So they find Blair and they like torch him, and they actually like get rid of all of the thing bits. Like multiple dudes are still alive. They don't have to burn down the camp, and like in the end, like humanity wins. Like we don't just survive, but we kill these like space alien monsters, and hey, we've got like a portable nuclear reactor and anti-gravity now. Humanity.
Oh, hell yeah.
It's like
That's
super
a win.
like it's super good guys win. Yeah. It's wild, but it's worth a read. And I know you were you were gonna read it. I should have asked if I could just
Oh, no, don't worry about it. I love this. So like I really want to get into the mind of that writer. I'm gonna do a little research. Was it Campbell? Was that the one?
I think so. Yeah, it's something Junior.
Yeah, Joseph W. Campbell Jr. Because like 38, 2 years after Hitler takes the Sudetenland or whatever, like things are in flux at that time.
Yeah, and like the Manhattan Project hasn't even been put together. So yeah, and that's nuclear
but
energy
like
being
his
a cool-
confidence, his like men will solve it thing is kind of interesting, whereas this is not that at all.
No, well, it's like science fiction through like the 50s. It's a bunch of like dudes in lab coats triumphing over some adversity. So it's got like that big feel. Whereas the thing, it's got that 80s like punk.
Yeah,
Like
it feels like they wanted to make a Godzilla movie, but they could only afford one set.
Yeah.
In terms of the scale, like everything's real tight.
Oh, for this one? Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. I have no idea what the budget was like, but it seems like you would save some money with everything on the same footprint.
Yeah, and yeah, again, reusing sets. We're gonna burn this one down, and we're still gonna use it for like a week of shooting or whatever.
Yeah,
it's such a shame this movie just got torpedoed by E.T.
Yeah, so Carpenter's best movies like just didn't make enough money.
Yeah,
it's so weird.
I think it came out like a couple weeks after E.T. or something. It didn't stand a chance. It was also like critically reviled. It turns out critics are never any fun.
Well, I've noticed that like Rotten Tomatoes scores fail when it's something that's polarizing, and this would absolutely be polarizing. I mean, I avoided it for 40 years or whatever because it was too scary. I bet there was a lot of people like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a particular flavor.
If E.T.'s just sitting there like being cute and not going to hurt anyone.
Yeah, in fairness, if you need to take the family to the theater in 1982, I guess E.T. is the better choice. I'll give it that.
The government is kind of scary in that one, but not Thing level scary.
Oh yeah, I mean E.T. gave me nightmares when I was a kid. Specifically when like dudes in like hazmat suits are marching down a residential street.
Yeah.
That's creepy. Cops are creepy.
Well, shit. I got to put E.T. on the list. Oh, man. This is great. Well, if you were to star the Thing, 1 to 5, what do you got?
Personally, I'm going to give this
0 to 5?
That's fair. There are films that deserve a 0. For me, I rank this a 5 out of 5. I think for like a person who enjoys sci-fi, it's like a solid 4. Looking at it objectively, I think it's one of those films that should be seen if you enjoy horror or sci-fi, and especially sci-fi horror. This is like canon. This is in the canon, I think.
Hell yeah.
What about you?
Hell yeah. Well, I was worried I wouldn't have enough to say about this one because it's it's so action oriented. You know, there's a lot of quiet parts or fighting and stuff like that. But there were so many funny like moments between these fellas that in a way at times I was like, I wish they had more time to just like banter and bullshit. But you know, there's all this stuff going on. So obviously the character work was good too, and the actors were good. So yeah, I definitely give it a 4.5, but just not a full 5 because it's not quite something I want to rewatch for fun on a Saturday or whatever. You know, like it's not a yank it off the shelf at any time, day or night.
So this isn't gonna get into your Christmas playlist.
Oh God, it might. I don't know. I mean, there's the Christmas Story,
Die
and
Hard.
then I don't really have any. Yeah, I don't really rewatch Die Hard. Um, I haven't watched The Ref since the whole Spacey thing went down.
Fair.
Yeah, I didn't have a lot of Christmas movie traditions as a kid, but it's a good thing to think about because it's right around the corner.
Oh yeah, it is. When is this coming out?
It may be a little bit. I'm stacking up a few.
Right.
It could be 2 weeks. It could be 3, but it should come out before Christmas for sure.
There you go. Start a new Christmas tradition. The Thing.
Hell yeah! I talked to somebody who watches Alien every. Was it Halloween? It was either Halloween or Christmas, but that's a fun tradition.
That is
I
fun.
like quirky, offbeat ones. Yeah. It's snowy movies. I mean, I guess Elf is good.
Yeah, I worked at a portrait studio when I was an undergrad, doing like family photos and that. And for Chris, like we just had a TV playing DVDs in the lobby, and just you go insane. But for whatever reason, I watched Elf like 40 times over the course of one Christmas
Oh,
season,
shit.
and I can still watch Elf.
Oh, man, that's
That
great.
that movie is fun. Does that count as
Okay.
speculative fiction? Santa Claus landing in New York.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Throw it on the list. That one
Yeah.
might break through automatically. Huh?
Get your holiday apps.
Yeah, that's fucking great. Well, okay, so that's it for the thing. Um, with books, sometimes I like to look at Goodreads negative reviews and see if they inform anything. But the thing is so good, you know, I don't know. Oh, criticisms, I guess. Feminism, it doesn't do a lot there.
Yeah. No.
Uh, if it is saying anything about society or how we treat one another or whatever, it's pretty subtle.
It's
Uh,
like I don't know, like neutrally pragmatic in that sense. Like people start turning on each other, but ultimately, even even when you don't trust each other, you still work together for the greater good. When
yeah,
when the
that's
chips are
good.
down,
Yeah, I like that.
sacrifice the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few.
Oh man, speaking of Star Trek, are there any Star Trek episodes that are like this in terms of, well, there's that fight with Julian Bashir and his buddy Rom where they're
Hmm.
defending this terribly defended position during the war and they're just getting overrun
Oh
and
yeah,
it's a matter of time before they lose.
and you have like almost a whole season of DS9 that's all about a war with shapeshifters and who can you trust? You
Yeah.
get Klingons showing up and cutting blood on tables. They do the blood test there too.
Yes. Hell yeah, the changelings.
Yeah. You get like it turns out those rifle phasers have like a crazy sweep sweep setting. You can just take out a room. I don't know if the Federation should be doing that. But I think for Trek with like to get like the feel for this movie, I think there are two good TNG episodes that do this. Like one of my all-time favorites is Schisms, where basically I love any episode where they use the holodeck like for work, not just to be Robin Hood or whatever. So when they're like using the holodeck to try and figure out what happened to all of these people, right? That unknown like missing memory thing. It's not a creature feature thing so much much as it is like that tension, but it's kind of a corny episode. But the one where Geordi and that one lady he used to work with on another starship are turning
Oh,
into
Leah
salamander people.
Brahms. Yeah,
No,
they're
no,
on the holodeck.
oh sure,
Wait,
yeah,
salamander people.
that's a great holodeck episode where they're using the holodeck for work. I agree. And this is my ADD brain. You followed the logical thought, and that's
So,
how your brain should do that.
okay, so in this one, Jordy's with a salamander lady.
Geordi is turning into a salamander man, and everybody else from his crew has already like AWOL'd from their ships and like crashed shuttles into some planet, and they don't know what's going on. And they use the holodeck in that one to find out like something is casting a shadow that isn't in the image.
Oh, it's like a cloaked alien.
Yeah, exactly. So he's turning into like a cloaked alien man. And so people are turning into some sort of weird thing that can disappear, and they have to use the holodeck to figure it out. And there is a legitimately like creepy shot where Geordi is like removing all the visible elements from it and trying to match them to shadows. And
That
it's
sounds
a good,
awesome.
yeah. It gets weird and it gets kind of dumb, but like there are some great creepy sequences in that one.
Now, is that Schisms or is that a different one?
No, Schisms is the one where Worf and everybody's in the holodeck with the clicks, and they're like trying to like figure out what kind of table they thought they were strapped to in a dream.
Oh, yes.
Schisms.
The clicks.
What's the one where Geordi turns
Okay.
into it? Yeah.
And I'm also thinking of a Strange New Worlds episode where a Gorn gets loose on this old ship and is hunting them. And it's like, it's as scary as the Thing, but it's not turning into anyone.
I've only seen a few eps. Yeah, I've seen a few eps of Brave New World. I Strange New Worlds. I think I really like that Trek, and I apparently it's like the Gorns are like super scary in that, right?
Oh, so scary. It's not a lumbering guy in a suit.
Rubber suit.
It's like
Yeah.
it's a really crazy looking creature with different forms, like the alien. What do we call the alien from Alien?
Xenomorph.
Xenomorph.
Yeah. Oh, it's Identity Crisis.
Identity Crisis.
Yeah, the 18th episode of season 4.
Good season. It's funny, I've seen so many Star Trek episodes, but a lot of them I can't remember when I hear their description. I'm like, that sounds really good. Got to see it again.
Yep.
So next thing, I can cut this part out if you say no, but would you like to be on again?
Sure, if you want to have me. Yeah.
Oh, I would love that. Okay, we'll work out schedules, but this gives us a great opportunity. Because the Thing isn't part of a series or a franchise, we don't have to discuss.
Oh, you setting up you got a game of buttholes over there?
To find out which thing we might watch next. Now, I know you, on my selection list, you commented.
Yeah, I commented on a bunch that I could do, and I commented on a couple that I know nothing about.
Okay.
So that's what's available. I know you were gonna do.
So you've taught
House of
Frankenstein.
Yeah.
You like The Good Place, Song of Ice and Fire, Game of Thrones. You've seen Doctor Who.
Yeah, I shouldn't do Doctor Who unless you want to explain Doctor Who to me. If that's the premise, I'm game for that. I mean,
we'd have to start at the pilot of the 2005. I'm not going to force anyone to get BritBox and watch the first Unearthly Child episode with the cavemen. It's a lot if you're not like super into it. I would say the Christopher Eccleston episode, it's called Rose, is a good place to start. But there are so many Doctor Who fans out there. It might be
Yeah, I
I
think
don't know. It would be really fun to like expose somebody to it, but like a lot of people, they get to like season 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever, and they're like, "Yeah, I've had enough."
yeah, like I've seen some eps, and it's a weird show where like on paper, I love it. Like if I got a script and just read that, I'd be like, this is wild, this is incredible. There's an episode where there's like Shaolin monk ninjas taking over a castle in England because Prince William is a werewolf. That's a lot of show in one show. But like the episode doesn't hit the same way. I don't know. I would be game to have somebody get me into Doctor Who. It is a
Oh
huge blind
man.
spot in like my nerd cred, but
Okay. So I'm gonna push that off
yeah,
just to see how things develop. But yeah, I absolutely would love to walk somebody through the best and or worst episodes. But I would also love to go through all of it. But I mean, that's an enormous undertaking.
and in fairness, like there are definitely friends of Shimoda who like are also on their third watch through the season and could absolutely just jump in, like hit the
Hell
ground
yeah.
running.
Hell yeah. Well, let's I'm thinking I'm just going to count all of these up and do a random number. When it was just me and Lindsey, I was trying to like cycle through from fantasy to sci-fi to weird and back and forth, but I think I'm just going to put them all together. 6, 8.
Let's do this.
Okay. So, it looks like we might be doing a fantasy. Let me count these up. 2. Nope, we're doing a science fiction. So just to make it easier on me, I'm going to re-roll here. Or, well... Oh, that would be the X-Files. Yeah, I'm going to re-roll because we did the X-Files recently. So... I don't even know if this is available anywhere, but The Lone Gunman, short-lived TV series that was a tie-in to X-Files. Funny story there.
That's interesting. Yeah, go for
Funny
it.
story there was their first episode featured a plane crashing into a skyscraper.
I remember that story. Yeah.
And I want to say it came out a week or two before that whole thing went down. So that could be pretty interesting, but I think I'm going to roll again.
I've seen one episode, but I would try to find it, not only because like it's a fun thing to see, but also there's only like what 13 episodes or something.
Probably something like that. Star Trek Lower Decks.
Hell
What do
yeah.
you think?
Hell
Do you
yeah.
have Paramount Plus?
I don't, but I do have there are DVDs, and I can go to a friend's house and watch it on their TV. I've only seen the first 2 seasons, but
Well,
favorite
that's
Trek.
where we'd start. I figure anytime I do Star Trek, we'll do the pilot first, and then the next episode would be like 2 of your pick, unless people wanted to go in order.
Oh yeah, like pick like highlights from a season, and then
Yeah. Now, Lower Decks is shorter, so it would be a shorter episode probably. So
and
we
I
could
love
do
it.
2.
I am happy to watch it all.
Oh,
It's
man.
it
What do
is
you
both
think?
my
Just
favorite
do the
Trek.
pilot
Uh,
or do 2?
I think we could do 2 and start talking about the pilot and see how long that takes.
Okay.
And then we could dip into another one if we need to.
Oh, man.
I actually know
This is
some trivia about
exciting.
that already. That gets animated here in Vancouver.
No shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
The
That's
Titmouse office is up
exciting.
here. Yeah.
Titmouse.
That's an animation studio that also, I think, one of their first major productions was The Venture Brothers. Is that on your list?
It's not, but it will be now.
A couple months ago, I was in the grocery store, waiting at the checkout, and some dude walked up behind me, and he realized he forgot something and walked away. And as he walked away, on his calves, he had a Monarch and a Venture Industries tattoo on each leg, one on each leg.
Oh, that's
And he
great.
walked away, and then like I kept waiting for him to come back in line, and some old lady came and she was in line behind me. In my mind, I was like, "Go away, lady! I want to talk to this guy." And then she like went to the express aisle. She was like, "Whatever." I didn't say this out loud, but she did just go to the express aisle. And then he came back, but he was holding like four more things in his arms. He didn't have a basket. And I was like, I feel bad about doing this, but I'm going to. And I just turned around and said, "Go Team Venture." And then he like was like, "Shit." And he started like juggling stuff in his arm so that he could have like 4 jars of salsa on his forearm and get the 2 fingers up so that he could give me the V. And it was
Hell
worth it for
yeah.
both of us. Yeah.
That's badass. Well, I need to get into that, so I'm glad it's on the list here. Season 1, Episode 1, Second Contact, premiered August 5th, 2020. It's 25 minutes long, and according to the blurb, it's the season premiere. Ensign Tendi has her first day of work on Starfleet's USS Cerritos, where she meets fellow support crew members Ensigns Mariner, Boimler, and Rutherford.
Ritos.
And next one is season 1, episode 2. I just watched this the other day. It's so good. Envoys. Or is it Envoys? Anyway, after a high-profile mission goes awry, Boimler is further plagued with self-doubt when Mariner proves herself to be a more naturally talented sci-fi badass than he. And, yeah. Spoiler alert, that theme continues for many seasons.
And comics.
Oh man, I gotta get these comics.
I've only read the first Ryan North one. He's got a choose your own adventure out now, or it's a warp your own way.
Oh, that's fun.
Everybody's talking about it. I'm on the wait list for it. But yeah. I haven't found any Lower Decks media that isn't a ton of fun.
I can imagine. I just heard Tawny Newsome on The Greatest Trek, and she is writing, like she's head writer or co-head writer or something on Starfleet Academy.
So yeah, Tawny Newsom and Quaid, they both do Comedy Bang Bang like almost once a year, I think. Like they're on pretty regularly. And they're a ton of fun. Do you listen to Comedy Bang Bang?
Not really. I've dipped in here and there, but not at the moment.
Yeah, it's like an improv comedy, like fake interview show. And like they're stars of a show. They come on, they like talk to the people who are improvising, talk about Lower Decks or whatever. But like Quaid actually like does characters on it. Like he really goes all in, and it's those are actually pretty fun. If you wanted an intro to that, you could just cherry pick their episodes.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Scott Ackerman.
Yeah, Paul F. Tompkins. Yeah.
Great. Well, hey, you know what? That's a good place to start for recommendations. Is there anything besides Star Trek and The Thing that you think everyone should get on top of right away?
Yeah, so in addition to like sci-fi nerddom, I'm also like a big, Greek mythology nerd. And this year I've read a whole stack of modern retellings of classic myths. And I think an excellent author for somebody to check out if they want to like dip back into their old Greek mythology phase. She's like a feminist and an academic, Natalie Haines. She's written a bunch of novels and a bunch of nonfiction, like more academic books, but she's got like a sense of humor that it's not like a riot of laughs, but she's like that one professor you had that was actually pretty cool. And all of her audiobooks are also read by her. So, you're getting the straight dope. So basically anything by her on a topic that tickles your fancy, I would recommend jumping in on.
That is fantastic. Greek mythology was my first exposure to speculative fiction. So that would be a fun return to the beginning. Man, that just reminded me of Clash of the Titans and those Harryhausen things.
Man, I have I'm in my office. I have a Clash of the Titans action figure for some reason. I have Perseus.
That's fantastic.
I did not buy this. I won it in a raffle, and it's been sitting on my shelf. And my wife keeps wondering why I have like Who was this guy? It's that dude from Avatar, like the human guy.
Rockwell?
No, it's like a guy who like kind of looks like a thumb. Like those dudes with the shaved heads that were in every action movie in the early 2000s, and then they just disappeared. It's
Totally. Yeah.
one of those guys. But anyway, what would you recommend for the people?
Why didn't I prepare? I'm rereading the Vor game in anticipation of recording on it. It's my favorite Vorkosigan series book by Lois McMaster Bujold. It's tremendous.
So it's not Vor fanfic, just to be clear.
Just to be clear. And of course, any and all work created by the Unspoiled network. She does Spoil Me, where she like reads a book or watches a show and then talks about it just solo and with whoever's chatting while she records. This is Natasha Winters. And then she has other hosts, so she's covering Mistborn and Supernatural. She did Doctor Who, but like tapped out sometime in the Matt Smith era because she couldn't handle all the people coming back to life. But anyway, the Unspoiled Network is just tremendous. She does what we do, but even better. So check her out and join the Patreon and get 1,000 free episodes of all manner of wonderful things over there. She got her start doing A Song of Ice and Fire and unfortunately the Harry Potter books. So all her Harry Potter content is shelved somewhere, but yeah. Great shows. Check those out. And I think that's enough, Rex, for now. Man, Lois McMaster Bujold is so good. She does fantasy novels in a different universe, but I prefer the sci-fi stuff.
I've never even heard of them.
Yeah,
what's a good
they're
like
kind of standalone. So the world is sort of like it's Battlestar Galactica-ish if civilization was still functioning. Multiple planets.
Yeah.
They use wormholes instead of whatever that jump business is in BSG. But yeah, and the main characters are usually associated with this planet that was cut off from the rest of civilization for hundreds of years, and then was invaded by a galactic power that nuked places, and so then they're recently back into normal society, and this guy Miles Vorkosigan is just joining the military, and he's got all these big bright ideas. He can't wait to prove himself, but he's also 4'8" because of a bunch of a bone disorder or whatever. So he's like a disability advocate at the same time as being like a intelligence agent, badass type guy. He's still in high school at one point when he like does some adventures, so that's fun. But each book kind of stands alone and has just a few references forward and backward, but they really you can dip in at any point during the chronology, or go all the way back to the beginning, which I think is called Shards of Honor. It's the first appearance of Cordelia Naismith, who is Miles's mom. But yeah, it's got stuff about family and obligations and duty, and everybody has to serve. It's kind of Star Trek-y in that way.
It sounds like kind of like Star Trek meets Ender's Game meets something else.
I mean, Ender's Game, all the kids are supposed to be in this. Like, he just goes on vacation and gets roped he stumbles into a whole bunch of mess. But Ender's Game, now we're going to have to put that on the list. I don't think I got through that one. Okay, so that's it for the Rex. How do people find you on the internet if you want them to?
I mean, if you're a friend of DeSoto, I'm on the HMS Hood on Discord. I'm a Cthulhu Calamari there. And if you are in Canada and need an entertainment lawyer, you can look up the law firm Altman and Company in Vancouver. I've been with the firm for 6 years and I'm still not on their website, but
Is it Altman or Altman?
Altman.
Nice.
Altman and Company. Yep. And that's how I keep the lights on for now, anyways. We'll see how this podcast game takes off.
That's right. You were superb. I enjoyed the hell out of it. Thank you for giving me an excuse to watch this terrifying movie. And I hope everybody listening who hasn't seen it will just go and do it. Turn all the lights on and turn the sound down like I do.
Pour yourself a nice big glass of scotch.
That's right. That's right. All right, man. Well, until next time, maybe we're at war with Norway.
That thing wanted to be us.
A huge thanks to James Lark of jameslark.co.uk for providing our wonderful theme song. Thank you, James.
Here's the thing. Here's a thing about the thing. If one of them just like became a really hot chick, half the dudes in that station would be like, you know what? I'm okay with this.
I am glad you said it because that was my possibly non-feminist take that I will get into it.
Yeah, in your preemptive defense, this movie takes the Bechdel test out back and shoots it in the head. They're the only woman in this film is uncredited doing the voice of the chess computer and is called a cheating bitch. She gets one line and then is set on fire with scotch and then it's out. So you've done nothing but point out the obvious. The biggest problem that they had when they were on set in Alaska was they couldn't get beer because you just had like a bunch of dudes out in the snow with nothing to do, especially it was like overcast most of the time. And so they were literally just sitting in tents, not doing anything. So I'm sure everybody felt about as miserable as him at some point in the shoot.
Man, I don't drink anymore, but it feels bad just hearing about it because I know how much most people love it and they'd get real testy. It'd be like saying to smokers, like, you can't smoke for 6 months or I don't know, however long they're up there. I guess it's only like a month on a movie shoot, huh?
Well, they were in Alaska for I think like a week or something. They went out there to shoot all the big exterior snowfield stuff. So like when they heli out to like where the UFO is and the dog chase at the beginning, and then all of the stuff that was at the station, they shot that in northern BC on the glacier, and then everything that's inside they shot that in like Burbank. So
nice.
If it was miserable, it was only for a little while.
Yeah. Cool.
Oh, and Kurt Russell actually flies the helicopter in some scenes.
Oh shit! I thought it looked like him a couple of times.
So it's him the whole time. I guess we're in the pod now. Sorry.
I was gonna say, like, I should probably start